ahead and get out your hard reading book, open up to pages 70 and 71.
That's 100.
Where you see the vocabulary words.
I'm on this page.
Remember, we are in the story Dogs, because we skipped over our story Family, My Family, which is lesson 3 in our Unit 1 book. Okay? So we'll go over those vocabulary words real quick before we get started so that they are in our brains. So that when we start asking questions about the story, we have these vocabulary words in our brains. It helps us understand the story better. All right, I will do them in order today too, just so we get them better in our heads. 70 and 71 there, Jamie. Jamie, open up the book with what you have right now. The whole chunk that you have in your hand. Open the whole chunk. Now find 70 and 71. Okay. So, our first vocabulary word is the word hairy. It's number 1 there in your book on page 70. If you look at the picture of that dog, that is definitely a very hairy dog. Because hairy means you have a lot of hair. In this case, though, dogs have fur. We don't call it hair, we call it fur, but it's the same idea, okay? So something that's very hairy has a lot of hair or a lot of fur. People can be very hairy. Animals can be very hairy. A lot of hair and a lot of fur, okay? Number 2, our vocabulary word number 2, Jamie, page 70. You're too far. If you were in the story, you went too far. Look for page 70, 70 and 71. Vocabulary word number 2 is mammals. The cat in the picture is a mammal, but the fish is not a mammal. There's 3 things we need to remember mostly about mammals. Mammals are animals that have warm blood inside their bodies. They are animals that have backbones or a spine. That's the bone that's running straight down the middle of our back. And they are animals that have either hair or fur. So we need to remember those 3 things about mammals. They are animals with warm blood, a backbone, and hair or fur. So does that make us mammals?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, we are mammals. We have warm blood inside our bodies. We have a spine or a backbone that helps keep our body upright. And we have hair on our heads. Plus, as you get older, you're going to get hair on your arms and legs and everything else. Some people will get really hairy. Some people just get a little hairy. But we all have hair on the top of our heads starting out. Okay? So we are mammals, yes. Another vocabulary word number 3. Couldn't get the word vocabulary. It's on page 71. Is the word litter. You'll see that there's a bunch of puppies in this picture. Because a litter is when a lot of babies are born to one mom at the same time. When we're talking about animals having a lot of babies at one time, that is a litter. A litter is a bunch of baby animals born to one mom at one time. Then we have the vocabulary word stayed. It's number 4 on page 71 in your book. This dog is staying at a cousin's house. If the dog is staying there, or if you stayed somewhere, it means you either lived with somebody or you visited somebody. Okay? So stayed means you lived with or visited someone. Canned is our next vocabulary word, page number 5 on page 71. This man is taking canned dog food, getting canned dog food at the store. If it is canned, it means something has been put inside the can to keep it fresh. We do that with a lot of foods. What kind of foods might we put inside cans to keep them fresh? Alina, can you tell me one?
Like sometimes pineapple?
Yeah, pineapple, fruits. We can put inside cans to keep them fresh. What else can we put inside cans, Zayden?
Soup.
Soups we put inside cans to keep them fresh. Hi, Mr. Buckley.
Is Aiden here?
Aiden?
Zayden?
Oh, Zayden is right there. Yep.
All right.
Valerie?
Beans.
Beans. So we can put fruits and vegetables. Beans are a kind of vegetable. Soups inside cans to keep them fresh. What else, Angelina?
Apples.
Apples is a kind of fruit. What do you think, Jose?
Corn soup.
Corn, which is a kind of soup. Yeah, so we can put a lot of different kinds of foods can go inside cans. When we put them in the can, we're keeping the food fresh inside the can so that it can sit on our shelves and we can eat it later. Choose is our next vocabulary word. Number 6 in our book on page 71. This puppy is chewing on the shoes. When a puppy chews on shoes, or when you chew your food, like for breakfast or lunch or dinner, it means you are crushing or grinding the food with your teeth. Or in this case, the puppy is crushing or grinding the shoe with its teeth, okay? So chews means to crush or grind with your teeth. Clicked is another vocabulary word, and this is a tricky one because this is also a multiple meaning word. So I'm going to talk about both meanings for this one. In this case, for our story, for the vocabulary, the word clipped means to hook onto something else using a clip. Like you might clip the dog's leash onto its collar. You means you hook it onto the leash using the clip part of the leash to put it on the collar. But clipped can also mean something else. So let me use it in a sentence. Let's see if you could use my sentence clues to figure out the other meaning for clipped. I went to the beauty salon to have my bangs clipped. What would I do at the beauty salon if I had my bangs clipped? What does clipped mean then? Jose, you want to give it a try?
Here.
Or maybe you go to the barber to have your hair clipped. What does that mean if you have your hair clipped at the barber? Anybody have a guess what it might mean? Logan, what do you think?
Cut.
Yeah, it's another word for cut. So clipped can mean two things. Clipped, when it's talking about the story, means to hook on with a clip. But it can also mean to cut something. I had my bangs clipped. Okay, or the barber used the clippers to clip my hair. Like when you have your hair cut, Jose, because of the way you have your sides cut, they use the clippers to cut your hair. So it means they're cutting your hair with it. And last but not least, our last vocabulary word is the word coat. It's another multiple meaning word. I'll talk about both of them. In this case, for our story, the word coat means the fur on an animal or the hair on an animal. But when we're talking about a person's coat, what is that?
Like you wear it if it's like really cold or like windy outside.
You might wear it, but what is it? It's a piece of what? Jose?
Coat.
It's a piece of clothing. So a coat is a piece of clothing that you put on your body to keep you warm. Or in this case, for our story, it's an animal's hair or fur. Or maybe you might use some paint to paint a coat of paint on the walls. So you're using the paint to cover something up. So coat has lots and lots of meanings. But for our story, we want to remember that it means an animal's fur or hair. Okay? All right. Now that we have those vocabulary words in our brains, that should help us better understand our story as we read through dogs. So now, in your book, I want you to turn to pages, I think it's 73, 74, and 75. Okay. I was close. There we go, 74 and 75. We're going to start reading through our story Dogs today. This time when we read through our story Dogs, I'll stop and ask questions along the way once I get my book here so I can find the questions that I want to stop and ask along the way. I have to open my book up too. Now, Dogs is a different kind of story than what we have read so far. Dogs is an informational text. And inside the word informational text, I see the word information. Information is facts. Stuff that people tell you, or stuff that you can learn, okay? So an informational text or an informational story is a story that is telling you facts about something. Everything you read in an informational story is true because it's all facts. None of it is make-believe. It's all real stuff in that kind of story. So we see a lot of facts and details about what we're reading. We also see photographs. Like the picture of the dog that's on the front of our story. It's a photograph. Somebody took a camera and took a picture of the dog instead of drawing the dog. And the reason why we did that, or the author did that, was because the author wants you to actually see the real dog or the real thing. Okay? So it's a lot nicer to have real photographs in our informational text than it is to have drawings. Jamie, I need you to sit up, buddy. And in this story, too, we have headings. And remember, I'll point those out as we go along. Headings are words that are at the very top of the page that kind of tells you what that page is going to be talking about or what the other pages are going to be talking about, starting with that page. Okay? It's kind of like having a title at the top of the page, letting you know what you're going to read about next. Our author for this story is Jennifer Blizzen Gillis. What does an author do again? What does an author do, Levi?
Draws the words.
Writes the words, yes. The author writes the words. And we don't have an illustrator because we have real photographs, okay? And our essential question, we aren't going to answer today, but we're thinking about it as we're reading through it, is what do pets need to be healthy and happy? So we just think through that right now. We'll talk about it as we get through our story in a couple more days. Just thinking about what do pets need to be healthy and happy. All right. Here's my heading right at the very top of the page. What kind of pet is this? There's my heading at the very, very top. Notice how it's bold printed too. It's like big letters, makes it stand out on the page. What kind of pet is this? Pets are animals that live with us. Some pets are small and have feathers. My pet is big and hairy. Can you guess what kind of pet this is? Now, let me ask first of all, what's the vocabulary word that we have on that page? What vocabulary word, Zayden, do you see on that page?
Hairy.
Hairy. How did you know that, Zayden, that was one of the vocabulary words?
Because it's in yellow.
Yeah, they highlighted it in yellow for us, right? So that it stood out. Very good. Anybody remember what hairy means? We just went over hairy as our vocabulary word. What does hairy mean? Angelina?
So much hair.
Lots of hair. Yep. Lots of hair or fur in an animal's case, right? So, now, first of all, what kind of pet is this?
Like a dog.
A dog, right? It's a dog. What kind of clues can we use from the words and the picture to help us figure out that it's a dog? What kind of clues can we use from the words and the picture to help us figure out that it's a dog? Valerie, do you have a clue that we could use?
It has fur.
We can see in the picture that it has fur, right? That's one clue. What's another clue that we could use from either the words or the picture that can help us find out that it's a dog? Angelina.
If you look on the page 76, there's a tail.
Oh, you're right. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but on page 76, there's a little tail poking out there at the bottom of the picture, isn't there? So that's another clue.
I got no clue.
What's another clue that we could use from either the words of the picture to help us guess that this is a dog? Alina?
On the tongue, because it's like sticking out, because some dogs stick their tongues out.
Big wet tongue sticking right out there.
Like drooling.
Any other clues, Zayden?
Their nose.
There's a nice wet nose right here on page 77, right? So we have lots of fur, we have a big wet tongue, we have a nose, we have a tail. Jose, do you have one?
Yeah, the paw.
I do not see a paw on the picture of 77. Oh, you mean the paw print?
Yeah.
Oh, there is a paw print. You're right. There is a paw print, too. So those are some good picture clues. What are some good word clues? What are some words that we had on that page that help us understand that this is a dog? I'll read it again. Pets are animals that live with us. Some pets are small and have feathers. My pet is big and hairy. Can you guess what kind of pet this is? What are some word clues? Jamie, what's one word clue that was in that sentence or in those sentences?
Big.
Big. Saw the word big. What else did we see? What other words? Jose?
Hairy.
Hairy. Another word clue. What other words did we see? Logan?
Feathers. Feathers.
But feathers isn't going to be a clue that helps me figure out what this pet is. I want to find some word clues that are helping me figure out what this pet is in the picture. So big and hairy can help me figure out what the pet is in the picture. What's the other word clue? There's one more word. I keep saying it over and over and over. Angelina.
That they can live with us.
Well, what can live with us, though?
Pets.
Pets. Yeah. We have the word pets in there, too, right?
Yeah,
And if you think of pets, you probably think mostly dogs and cats, maybe birds and fish. But a lot of times we think dogs and cats. If somebody says, oh, I have a pet, I bet right away in your brain you probably think dog or cat, right? So, and the word animals can too. Yeah. So pets, animals, live with us, big, hairy, those are all some word clues that help us figure out what is in the picture that can go along with the picture clues. Very good. Now, there's two different types of groups of pet that the author mentions. She mentions big and hairy pets, and she mentions small and feathers pets. Well, big and hairy, we can use the picture to guess that probably a dog fits in the big and hairy category. But what kind of pets might be in the small feathered category? If I had a group of pets that were small and feathered, what kind of pets would that be, Jamie?
baby dogs.
You think dogs are small and have feathers?
No.
Dogs can be small, but dogs are not going to have feathers. Lonnie, what do you think, buddy? What kind of pets can be small and have feathers?
Parrot.
A parrot.
Right there.
A parrot is a kind of what, Lonnie? What type of animal is a parrot? Is it a cat? Is it a dog? Is it a fish? No, a parrot is it is an animal. Well, what kind of animal? Want to take one more guess or should I phone a friend? You want to guess? You want to pass? Okay. Valerie, what kind of animal? A bird. Yeah. Birds are small and have feathers, just like Lonnie said, a parrot. Birds are small and have feathers. Cats do not have feathers. Dogs do not have feathers. Sheep do not have feathers. Well, sheep aren't really so much pets, but they can be. Mice, gerbils, rats, they do not have feathers. Guinea pigs, they do not have feathers. Some animals have fur and are hairy, but some animals are pets that have feathers. Birds have feathers, okay? So are we birds?
No.
No. Do we have feathers?
No.
No. So we can't be birds, right? That's one of the reasons why. Okay. On the next page now, maybe, once I click it. Here's our new heading on the next page. What are dogs? So I bet you everything we read on that page is going to talk about what are dogs. That's why the heading's up there, to tell us what we're going to read about. Dogs are mammals. Mammals make milk for their babies. Dogs are cousins of wolves and coyotes. Most dogs live with people as pets. I see a vocabulary word on that page. What's the vocabulary word that I can find on that page, Levi?
Mammals.
Mammals. Who wants to tell me one of the things that we need to remember about mammals? Remember, there are 3 things about mammals to remember. Who can tell me one thing? Derek? What's inside our body that comes out if we cut ourselves? Yes, warm blood. Fantastic, Derek. Good remembering. They have warm blood is one thing. What's another thing, Jamie? Hair or fur. Yep. Hair or fur. And Logan, what's the last thing to remember about mammals? Warm blood, hair and fur,
Backbone.
yeah, a backbone or a spine. The fancy word is spine. You can also call it backbone. If you reach back, you can feel it in the middle of your back. You have a spine. And the reason why you can sit up straight is because you have a spine. If you did not have a spine, you would kind of just be like a blob. There would be nothing holding you up straight. Okay? All right, so dogs are mammals. Mammals make milk for their babies. Dogs are cousins of wolves and coyotes. Most dogs live with people as pets. So far we've learned that they're mammals. What else did we learn on that page about dogs? What else did we learn on that page, Angelina, about dogs?
That they're good pets.
They can be good pets. What else did we learn, Lonnie?
Dogs can scare birds away and chase squirrels.
They might scare birds away and chase squirrels. What else could we learn from this page, though, that we just read? Dogs are mammals. Mammals make milk for their babies. Dogs are cousins of wolves and coyotes. Most dogs live with people as pets. We learned that dogs are mammals and that they can be pets. Is there anything else, Lonnie, that you can think of?
Yeah. They can sniff away when somebody went because
You're right.
Amazing.
They have really good sniffer noses, don't they? Jamie, what else did we learn on this page?
Most dogs live with coyotes.
But most dogs don't live with coyotes. But they did talk about coyotes on that page, yes.
Cousins.
They're cousins of coyotes and wolves.
Yeah.
So, do you have a cousin?
Yeah.
Yes? Does
Yes.
everybody in this room have at least one cousin?
Yeah. I got two. I mean,
You have, but you
I
have
got
at least one. At least one. You might have a lot of cousins, but you have at least one cousin. So they are kind of like, they are your relatives, which means your mom or your dad has brothers or sisters that also have kids. They are the kids of your mom and dad's brothers and sisters, or your stepmoms and your stepdad's brothers and sisters, or half mom and half dad brothers. Okay. So dogs and coyotes and wolves are related in the same way.
Yeah, cousins.
Coyotes and wolves are wild kinds of dogs. They are not pet dogs. You might see them in a zoo, but you are not going to have them in your house. Okay? Coyotes and wolves are wild dogs. But dogs, pet dogs, are related to that kind of wild dog. Okay? So we've learned that they are related to coyotes and wolves. We learned that they're mammals, and we learned that most of the dogs that we have live with our pets, or live with us as pets. Now on the next page it said, where did my dog come from? So on this page, the heading is letting us know that's what we're going to be reading about. A mother dog had a litter of puppies. At first, the puppies could not see. The puppies stayed with their mother for 8 weeks. Then I took a puppy home. So I see a couple vocabulary words on that page. What's one of the vocabulary words that I see on that page, Jamie? Litter, right. Do you remember what a litter means?
I mean that one dog comes from the same mom.
More than one dog comes from this, or more than one baby is born at the same time to one mom. Very good. And the other vocabulary word on that page, Levi, is?
Stayed.
Stayed. And what does it mean if you stayed with somebody?
That means you sleep with them for an entire day or like other stuff.
It means you could visit them or you could live with them. So maybe you visit for like a day, like you were saying. You kind of just go over and say hi for a while and hang out. Or maybe you actually stay there live there for a lot of days or visit for a lot of days. But it's not the house you usually live in. You just go and you visit or stay there for a little while, okay? How did I know right away that those are my vocabulary words again? Alina, what does the author do to make them stand out?
Highlight them.
Yeah, highlights them in bright yellow so we can see them. Fantastic. All right, moving on. Page 80 and 81. There we go. Oh, look at the dog and the puppy. This is just a puppy.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how big is my dog on page 81. At first, my dog was as small as a cat. That's why the author shows this picture with the cat and the puppy. It weighed as much as a big bag of sugar. Now my puppy is a dog. It weighs as much as a bicycle. Now, why do you think the author talked about the puppy weighing as much as a big bag of sugar and then the dog weighing as much as a bicycle? Why do you think the author used those words to help us understand how big is my dog? Do you think the author just wanted to kind of throw that in there just for fun because she was thinking about sugar and bicycles? No, she wasn't just thinking about sugar and bicycles. Why do you think the author bothered to put those words in there? Angelina, what do you think?
Because if you don't know if he just said how many pounds it was. Then if you don't understand, he just wants to give an idea, like how heavy it is.
Exactly. That's a great answer, Angelina. If the author just wrote, my dog weighed 10 pounds when he was a puppy, and now he weighs 80 pounds as an adult, you might not really have an idea of how much 10 pounds weighs or how much 80 pounds weighs. But if the author says, my dog weighed as much as a bag of sugar, have you ever seen a really big bag of sugar in the store? Or have seen a big bag of sugar at your house? No, you've never seen a really big bag of sugar before?
Yeah.
I've seen a really big bag of sugar at the grocery store or in my house. Mr. Tucker likes sugar a lot. So we buy big bags of sugar in my house. He uses a lot of sugar. So, but you have a better idea how much that big bag of sugar might weigh to compare it to the size of a puppy. And you've all seen a bicycle, right? You know how big a bicycle can be. Maybe you've not picked it up, but maybe you have had a bicycle that you've picked up and you can kind of feel how heavy that bicycle is. The author uses those descriptions to help you better understand what the animal weighs when it's a puppy and then when it's nice and big, okay? All right, on to the next page. On pages 82 and 83, now we're going to read about where does my dog live. My dog lives in the house with us. It sleeps on a special dog bed. Sometimes my dog sleeps in my room. It may even sleep on my bed. Now, I like this picture right here on pages 82 and 83. I think that's a very fun looking picture. But why do you think the author put a picture or a photograph of a dog laying next to feet? Why did the author bother to put that in the book? Why didn't the author just take a picture of a dog lying down on somebody's bed? Why does the author have a picture of the dog laying next to feet? Alina, what do you think?
Because the sleeping, like the person who's sleeping on the bed and the dog sleeping on their bed.
Okay, so they wanted to show the dog sleeping next to a person on the bed. Is that what you're saying? Okay, that's maybe one of the reasons why. Angelina, do you have any other things that you want to add to that?
They put a dog sleeping next to a girl or a boy because it wants to show, because it said that the dog was sleeping next to it.
Okay, so to kind of show more what the words were saying. Okay, that's another reason why. Jose, what do you think?
Probably the boy or girl went inside a blanket maybe, and probably the dog went in there too, and but probably the girl or boy fall asleep and the dog fall asleep.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that that's probably what happened when they went to take the picture is the boy or girl lay down on the bed and the puppy crawled under the blanket with them and they took the picture so that it looks like they were sleeping together. But one of the reasons why the author wants to show you that by using this picture is to show that that dogs are friendly and that they can be friendly enough that they can sleep with you, right? So when you're asleep, you don't really know what's going on around you because you're sleeping. But dogs are friendly enough that they can lay next to you and you don't have to worry about the dog poking at you or nibbling on you or something else. Dogs are friendly. So the author is showing you that a dog can be friendly enough to sleep beside you in your bed and you don't have to worry about it because dogs are pets and they are friendly animals. Okay? All right. Now on the next page, what does my dog eat? So what do you think is going to be on this page? What's this page going to talk about? Jamie, what do you think? About what? Maybe about canned food. About food in general, right? It's going to talk about food that dogs eat. My dog eats canned dog food. Sometimes my dog eats dry dog food. My dog chews special bones too. Chewing the bones helps keep its teeth strong and clean. 2 vocabulary words are jumping off the page at me right there. Jamie, I think you're ready to tell me what the first one is. What's that first one? Canned. Did you remember what canned means?
It means dry food or
Anybody want to make a guess what canned means? Yanessa, you want to guess what canned means?
like there's a can of food.
Right, but why do we put food into cans? Anybody want to make a guess? Why do we put food into cans, Jose?
It's because we put like inside the can that we put like something else like.
We put food into cans to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get yucky. So we can eat it a long time from when it goes in the can. Think about the canned foods that you have. You probably put the can on the shelf and it sits there for a while before you open it up and eat it, right? So canned food is food that is put into a can to keep it fresh, to keep it staying good so you can eat it later. The other vocabulary word that jumps out on that page is what, Alina?
Choose.
Choose. And if you choose something, what do?
Like eat it.
You do eat it, but what are you doing when you're eating it? When you eat something, you take a bite, what are you doing inside your mouth that you're chewing it?
Chewing the food.
Yeah, but what are you doing when you're chewing the food? What does chew mean, Angelina?
Like your jaw goes up and down.
Your teeth are going up and down, and your teeth are doing what to that food to break it into little pieces so it can go into in your belly? What's it doing, Lonnie?
Like chewing that same thing like eating.
It is just like eating. Your teeth are grinding it. Your teeth are crushing it. Crunch, 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 crunch. When you're chewing, your teeth are grinding and crushing that food down so that it gets small enough that you can swallow it down into your throat and it goes down into your stomach. Okay? So the dog chews on special bones, like dog biscuits. Have you ever seen dog biscuits, those hard, crunchy treats that dogs like to eat? They can crunch them and crush them and grind them up so that they can swallow them into their bellies. Or sometimes, like the picture that the author has on the page, the photograph, the dog actually has a bone that he's not going to eat to pieces, but he can kind of gnaw on it, chew on it with his teeth a little bit. Helps keep his teeth clean. What do we use to keep our teeth clean? Logan, what do we use to keep our teeth clean?
Toothbrushes.
Toothbrushes, right? Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to brush a dog's teeth, but I can honestly tell you that is not a fun experience. It is not fun at all to try to brush a dog's teeth or a cat's teeth. I've learned that the hard way too. Woo. Yeah, so you can give your dog a bone like this to kind of crunch on or gnaw on a little bit, and it helps rub the stuff off of the teeth to keep their teeth clean, just like we rub it off with a toothbrush, okay? All right, awesome sauce. Now, next page. We're talking about what else does my dog need. My dog needs a collar and a name tag. These can help me find it if it gets lost. My dog needs a leash too. The leash is clipped to the collar so my dog can go for a walk. Now, the word clipped, remember, is a multiple meaning word. It has more than one meaning. But when I'm talking about taking a leash and clipping a leash to the collar, what am I doing if I'm clipping the leash to the collar? What does the word clipped mean this time, Jamie? No, it doesn't mean cut it. I'm not cutting the leash onto the collar. If I'm clipping the leash onto the dog's collar, Levi, what's it mean this time?
Put on the collar.
Yeah, by doing what?
Clipping it.
I'm clipping it or hooking it on, right? So I'm hooking it on with the clip. So in this case, clipped means to hook it on with a clip. But remember I was saying how when you go to the barber or you go to the beauty salon and you have your hair clipped, it can also mean cut. It is a multiple meaning word, so I kind of want to put that out there because I think it's going to show up again later in a test. Just saying it out loud. Okay, so clipped can mean more than one thing. On page 82, we have what else or what can I do for my dog? I play with my dog every day. Playing is good exercise for dogs. I brush my dog with a special brush. This keeps its coat clean and smooth. What's an animal's coat? What's an animal's coat, Jamie? Yeah, it's fur, right? Now, why is it a good idea to play with your dog every day? Valerie, why should you play with your dog every day?
Because it helps the dog get exercise.
Right, it helps the dog get exercise. You like to play every day, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you go outside on recess. You like to play outside on the playground. It helps your body get exercise too. Your body wants to move. Now, why should you brush your dog? Why should you brush your dog? Alina?
So to stay cool because I was like warm blooded.
Okay, it might help it stay cool because when you brush it, what are you doing?
Taking the coat off.
Taking some of its fur off, right? Yeah, you can brush it to help keep its fur off. Just like when you comb your hair or brush your hair, how many of you comb or brush your hair? You don't comb or brush your hair, Levi? You don't use a comb or a brush at all?
I use a comb.
Okay, so just like when you comb or brush your hair, right? Okay, good. Okay, good. When you comb or brush your hair, believe it or not, you might notice that sometimes a little bit of hair comes off. That's natural. It's supposed to do that. It's the same thing with a dog. It sheds, we shed. Little bits of hair come out all the time. But a dog doesn't have hands. A dog can't just pick up its brush and start brushing its fur. So we have to do that for the dog to help it stay healthy and clean. Helps brush off dirt and everything else. Okay? What can my dog do? My dog can play fetch. When I throw a ball, it brings it back. My dog can help at home. It can bring in the newspaper. What's it mean if it plays fetch? What does that mean? My dog can play fetch. What does that mean? Yeah, Nessa, what does that mean if your dog can play fetch?
Like you throw a ball and then the dog will get it.
Yeah, and hopefully do what when it gets it?
Give it back.
Yeah. So when you play fetch, it means you throw something like a ball or a stick far away to the dog can run over and get it. And hopefully the dog runs over and gets it and brings it back to you so that you can throw it again. Sometimes the dog just gets it and then keeps running away like a Looney Tune, right? The dog can also bring in the newspaper. Have you ever had a dog bring you your newspaper?
No.
I've never been able to train my dogs to bring in newspapers.
I did.
Part of that is because the newspaper is put inside a box that's next to the mailbox, which is about this high anyways, so I don't think my dog's going to jump up there and do that. But that would be cool if I could train my dog to bring me my newspaper.
That would be like
Okay?
awesome. Yeah, you could make like
All right.
dogs.
Awesome sauce. Any questions about our story? Yes, no, maybe so? Logan, do you have a question about our story?
Are you gonna have a test about the story?
Any questions about our story, what we were talking about right now? No? Okay. All right. You can put your hard books off to the side for right now. And I'm going to stop this for a second.